The thug is in.
What is up, guys? I am back, and I am talking about well, first, you obviously see the legendary Soulwind on your screen. Soulwind's ORAS 1v1 match in the 1v1 Premier League. I built all of Soulwind's teams, and I pretty much hard prepped for Scrafty Night, but Soulwind played with my teams, and I just want to go through what I think his mindset was, and looking back, I probably would have made the same picks. Anyway, game one, got a really cool double Dragonite team. Trying to utilize the double again, see how Soulwind wields it. And this is the same weakness policy Dragonite from before, and this is a cool Specs Dragonite with a specific speed investment so that I didn't lose to a Curum that Scrafty Knight was spamming. Scrafty Knight pretty much just using past Dom teams and old teams, or trying to build his own stuff, but honestly not doing the best at it. And there's this very obvious Curum black team that is supposed, with weakness policy and reflect, that is supposed to lure in steel types. And this double D-Knight Mawile team, no one is not clicking their weakness policy anti-Mawile Curum into this team, because with Ice Beam you auto beat both Dragonites. So this is speed crept for that Curum, and you Draco meter it and kill it. And then Mawile to cover some other stuff. Anyway, on this preview, Scrafty Knight's team, Haxorus, Genesect, Gardevoir. So, at first, I maybe would have gone a Mawile here, because with Mawile with Ironhead beats Gardevoir, hard beats Haxorus, and Genesect might be too risky to come out here, knowing that Dragonite can just live anything from Genesect and kill it. But looking back, I don't know if Soulwind knew this, but as we'll see here, the Dragonite comes out. Here would have been my reasoning for going the Dragonite, and specifically the Specs Dragonite. If we look back at Scrafty Knight's team, his Mawile answers are actually very dire. Gardevoir loses with Ironhead, Haxorus loses, and any Scarf or Specs Genesect will just lose to Metal Burst. Will just lose to Metal Burst Mawile. And I remember Dom talking about this specific sub Genesect set with Pataya Berry, where you sub turn 1 on the Metal Burst, and then you just I think flamethrower it twice and you just win. So now thinking about it, I might have actually gone hard Dragonite into that specific Genesect, clicking Fire Blast on the Genesect. I might have, and I think I would have, but still, maybe Scrafty Knight just didn't have a Mawile answer, which I honestly I doubt he had a team 3-0'd by Mawile. I think he just didn't know what that Genesect did and went Haxorus into the other two Dragonite hoping that it won, and it did win. He did hard call out the Dragonite with Haxorus, and Scraft is up in game 1. So game 2, this is a very, very cool team, actually. Very, very happy with this team. This is a solid type core is Grass, Fire, Rock, and what I wanted to do here is I built this around Victini. I think Victini is stupid good. Specifically, this weakness policy set is a very good set for beating Pokemon like Aggron. It can beat Mega Altaria. It can beat Gyarados, and I thought it was just a very good Pokemon in general. I then paired it with a I then had a Diancie on this team, and I showed this before, but what I thought was cool about skill swap on Diancie is that it specifically lures Mega Gardevoir, lures Sylveon, and while Diancie would beat a Cotton Guard, or while Diancie would beat a while Diancie would beat a Gardevoir or Altaria that just tries to click Hyper Voice because Diancie can just Moonblast twice, what Skill Swap hilariously specifically covers is Dragon Dance Giga Impact Altaria, which I'm not sure exactly what the Dragon Dance Giga Impact route is for. It's supposed to surprise a lot of things, but one thing that it does solidly beat is Mega Diancie, because you Dragon Dance turn 1 on Protect, Giga Impact it, and it's gone. But so what that did here is it perfectly countered this very Dom looking team. He has a Terrakion, a Charizard, both hard lose to Diancie, and this Altaria was very likely going to be Dragon Dance Giga Impact for Diancie. So my prep worked insanely well here, and Soulwind, knowing what he's doing, just made the simple pick and went DIANCIE into this team, and skill swaps the clear body, bada bam, Giga Impact, does nothing. Awesome. Loved seeing this. I didn't get to see this live, but coming home and seeing that was like, oh my gosh, dude, yes. Because that's exactly what I would have done. Perfection. Perfection, perfection, perfection. Very rewarding to see that tech work for Soulwind. Game 3. Pretty simple. This is a very, almost a sample-esque team that I built. It's very boring, honestly. Like very boring, but it's very straightforward. 2 very powerful normal spamming Pokemon, and then a Slowbro to cover like fire and steel types. Just very self-explanatory. I actually don't remember exactly what happens here. Let's see what I think. Yeah, I mean, Soulwind I think just makes a good play, calls Slowbro into the Haxorus. Probably on Scrafty Knight's team, most likely Scarf Haxorus. I think that damage might be Scarf. I'm not really sure what damage that is, but it's over. Actually, let's look. What would we think this Haxorus is? Huh. I mean, so Gardevoir can be a Greninja answer, but you can literally just get gunked and lose. So I think Scarf Haxorus makes sense for that. Scarf Haxorus also made sense to cover Lopunny, which was on this team. And also covers Scarf Porygon Z. Haxorus covers both of those. So Scrafty Knight might have thought, hey, Lopunny looks good here, Soulwind's gonna go Lopunny. But Soulwind, being smarter than that, realizes that probably Scarf Haxorus into this team, could even be a fancy Scarf Victini into the Lopunny. Slowbro covers that. Yeah, so good pick by Soulwind. Game 4. Look at this hype looking preview, dude. Okay, hold on, let me pull up the team. I did build this with Scrafty Knight in mind, I believe. Let's go. Bam. There. So, idea behind Banned Haxorus. This is actually a team that I built that I was going to bring later on versus Finchinator, but I tweaked it and it worked very well versus Scrafty Knight. And Scrafty Knight has spammed this exact team that he's using multiple times throughout the tour, so it was perfect. The idea behind Banned Unnerve Haxorus is I wanted to KO Habanberry Curums that are trying to be anti-dragons, like a Babiri Berry Togekiss trying to counter on a Mawile. It beats Custap Manaphy, it beats Custap Empoleon, it just beats a lot of stuff, and Banned Haxorus just does Banned Haxorus things, destroying things with Iron Tail and Poison Jab. And this is a Pokemon that I used a lot throughout the tour. Mega Manectric was picked as a partner because it's one of the only Pokemon that can solidly handle Mawile and Gyarados together. It's very, very cool. With Intimidate and Overheat, you just beat Mawile. And you even beat Pokemon like Aggron, Greninja. It just felt very clean with Haxorus. And then I had just a standard-ish Gardevoir to just clean up some awkward matchups like Venusaur, Sableye I lost to. Give some extra looks versus Charizard, because if I didn't have Gardevoir there, I think Scarf Haxorus would have looked very likely. And yeah, so anyway, someone just made a good pick. Haxorus, and it hard beat the Togekiss, which was just perfection, because this Togekiss most likely was Babiri counter. There's no world where you go Togekiss, in my opinion. There's no world where you go Togekiss. I mean, you obviously loses to Manectric, but if you were going Togekiss to beat the Haxorus, it had to be Babiri counter so you don't die to any hit, or it was probably counter in general. So the fact that a Nerve Haxorus put in work there was super rewarding. Yeah, because, and if you were trying to beat the Gardevoir, I think you would have probably gone, well, no, I mean, Togekiss was maybe your best chance versus Gardevoir as well, but either way, Banned Unnerve Haxorus put in work. Pretty sure that was Babiri Togekiss. Very rewarding to see those teams win. I felt like I vicariously won, because those were all the picks that I would have made. Yeah, I don't know about this game. I don't know what I would have done here, because this is just kind of like 50-50-ish. I might have overthought and gone like Lopunny into the Gardevoir or something. I don't know. Either way, Soulwind won. So now, why are these all the wrong side? Hold up. Okay. So now, we are going to review my game versus Dez. Which I did prep for pretty heavily, I suppose. Yeah, anyway, game 1. Hitmonlee did not look very good versus Dez, honestly, but I just wanted to use a fun Pokemon. I built this team in my head while I was at a job. The idea behind Hitmonlee is it beats Charizard, Gyarados, Kyurem, Porygon Z, Heatran. Those big 5 Pokemon. It's just very cool, kind of swanky as well. What I really liked about this team is I paired it with Zard Y with Protect. The idea behind Protect is I wanted a Charizard because, you know, just beats steel types and like, you know, Mega Venusaur and Sableye for Hitmonlee, you know, pretty useful. But I didn't want to lose to Mega Lopunny and Mega Medicham clicking Fake Out on Hitmonlee before Hitmonlee could Fake Out and get Unburdened. So I came up with this cool Protect Zard Y that eats a Fake Out with Protect and then eats any hit from Lopunny and Medicham and KOs back with Blast Burn. And then with Will-O-Wisp, I still handle things like Mega Gyarados again, because Hitmonlee, you have to hit high jump kicks and stone edges, and you can get flinched, it's kind of shaky. And Protect also helped with Manaphy. And then lastly, this is the part that really gets me. I specifically chose Band Aggron over Mega Aggron for this team. Here's why. Dez was loving using, I knew that Dez was going to be using like that sort of weakness policy Victini, which beats Mega Aggron. I also saw a lot of Landorus Therian, and I could just Avalanche Landorus Therian instead of hoping that I have to outplay with Metal Burst. This just felt very solid into Dez. And here it looked really good. I just heavy slammed the Whimsicott. I should beat a Snorlax with Superpower twice, and here I knew that the Victini was coming out, and I knew that it was Wisp. And what's crazy is that I think versus like a max HP Victini, Bandit Head Smashed when burned is like a 75% roll. So I still felt very confident. And hilariously here, they click Wisp. I missed the Head Smash, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. But I'm like, whatever, they can't KO back, and I'm gonna KO them. They Blue Flare, and I don't kill Victini. I asked him what his spread was afterwards, and it was some crazy, like, 252 HP, like, tons of defense Victini. A Victini that's going to lose to Mega Slowbro. And, so, that was whatever. That was a 3-0 that I couldn't control, and I literally predicted that to happen, but whatever, I can't control that. So anyway, Game 2, I like this team a lot. It's very weird. It went through a very complicated process building wise that I honestly, like, I forget the specific reasons behind it. Why am I on Soulwind's game again? This. Next out of these. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so here, Crustle just looked really good into a lot of stuff that Dez was using. That Wisp Victini with Lumberry. I also beat Sableye with Lumberry. Handled Charizard spam, and I just felt like I could outplay a lot of stuff in general that Dez used with the Crustle. I then paired it with the Superior because I didn't want to lose to Gyarados and Manaphy, and I wanted to disguise the Lumberry on Crustle for Sableye, and because Superior usually beats Sableye by just Leaf Storming it. But instead of going the standard like Sub Protect Leech Seed set, I wanted to throw on AV here because I figured I could just, I don't remember exactly what, but I figured, well, a big one was Heatran. Dez loved Heatran. It lures Heatran, and it just does other random stuff. And so here's something that I want to talk about real quick is a lot of people for their third, they might think, ooh, I want to lure in Heatran. I'm going to pick like Diancie or something as the third. But I think differently. I think that I wanted to hard disguise the fact that I'm AV superior. So I paired it with a Greninja, which hard beats Heatran, so that they wouldn't even think, oh, this could be AV superior. That's what I want. So that's why I chose Greninja as a third. This team loses to a lot of stuff, but yeah. I went with this mixed Gunk Shot set, specifically with Hidden Power Electric for the Togekiss that you see on your screen, clicking Thunder Wave turn 1. I can't get paralyzed, and I finesse Togekiss. Gunk Shot would not win reliably. So yeah. Looking at this preview, but also on that note, like Dom likes to, who's probably the best ORAS player, he likes to think of AV Superior as a tool to help a team not get 3-0'd by something. I like to try to really disguise my lures and give as many looks as possible, which does leave me to get 3-0'd by common things, but yeah. Anyway, this preview, it's pretty scary. I could have gone Greninja hard into the Togekiss, hoping that it wasn't Scarf Dazzle, also hoping that the Sableye was not Calm Mind and I can Dark Pulse flinch it, and that I Dark Pulse flinch the Aggron. But instead of that, I realized that if I am predicting a Sableye if I am predicting a Sableye to come out, I should go what hard beats Sableye, which is my Crustle. That's what I felt very confident in, the Crustle beating the Sableye. Also, what's interesting about my preview is what Dez sees right now is he's probably seeing, okay, this guy's Aggron answer is Sub Protect Superior, which just wins. You just sub on any move, Leech Seed, and you win. He doesn't know that I'm AV though. And what is my play to beat an Aggron? Honestly, my team's Aggron answers are very slim. Like, I have to hope that I can finesse it with Crustle. And I felt he was going either Aggron or the Sableye, and I got it right. I went the Crustle here into the Aggron, and I clicked counter turn 1. So the reason that he's superpowered, I didn't realize he was banned, but the reason that he's superpowered was probably just trying to outplay the prospect of counter as much as possible. But there was nothing you can do about me countering turn 1. Surprisingly, don't kill. Rock Blast, GG. So that was, I felt very happy about that one. But very complicated preview to analyze, honestly, because not only that, but if you look back, there also is the fear of Custap Crustle, which is a very solid Togekiss answer. But because I'm not Custap, they air slash me, I get flinched, and it's literally over. So yeah, just some very interesting dynamics with this preview. So then I won game 2. We go to game 3. Oh man, dude, this gets me excited. Hold on, let me get my team up, dude. Oh my gosh, I love Camerupt, dude. Camrupt's one of my favorite Pokemon just in general. Anyway, so let's look at this team. I was memeing with this team before in room tournaments, not official tournaments, of double Camerupt or double Porygon Z plus Camerupt, because I think Camerupt is sick. So this team was built around Specs Dio Speed. I felt it had a very good matchup versus a lot of the stuff that Dez was running. I basically just kind of thought of it as like an anti-BS, fast KO everything Pokemon. A lot of stuff that he might get past from Dom. Specs Dio Speed did almost nothing in this matchup, maybe hoping it was Charizard, but I had the Camerupt. When I saw this preview, I was very excited because I knew that my Camerupt basically 3-0'd. This could have been banned Aggron again, which I could have potentially lost to. Like, they can actually kill this Camerupt with Head Smash. So I actually unclicked Camerupt and thought to maybe go Mawile and Metal Burst on the banned Aggron. But at the same time, I thought to myself, okay, I have to remember, he does not know that I am Specs Dio Speed. I could totally be the stall variant, and I felt like that was going to deter him enough from going Aggron, and that he would go one of the other two. And I went the Camerupt, which beats Charizard, X, and Mawile, and regular Aggron. And yeah, we got him, dude. We got him with the Camerupt. What I actually should have done is I should have subbed, because there's a very slight chance that Flamethrower doesn't kill, but it doesn't matter. He tried to Metal Burst turn 1, and Mega Camerupt is on the sheet. Got a win in 1v1 PL. I'm up 2-1. I'm feeling good. Yeah, very happy, very happy. So now we go to this game. And this is a very interesting team. So this is not a team that I prepped hard for Dez, but I thought would match up very well for Dez in general. It was a mono dragon team with that Roselli Curum that I didn't get to reveal before because it did literally nothing in preview versus Finch. Another cool thing about this team is that Power Swap Altaria. Manaphy seemed like a Pokemon that Dez might like to bring, and Power Swap Altaria lures Manaphy by clicking Power Swap turn 1 on the Tail Glow, and then clicking Hyper Voice, and you just win. And you still do Altaria stuff with Toxic Roost, like beating Zards, luring in Slowbro, etc. So on this preview, I had a lot to think about. Very in-depth preview because of how weird my team is. I knew that my Altaria would beat his Zard. That would be what I would pick if I was hard going into Charizard, was my own Altaria. My Altaria had a very bad matchup versus opposing Altaria because I was slow. I don't kill them with Hyper Voice, and they're just gonna Hyper Voice into Hyper Beam me potentially. And I also had no clue what that Hoopa was. That Hoopa could have been like some Roselli set with Gunk Shot. Like, there was a lot to think about here. And then my Charizard. And so what I could have followed two mindsets here. I could have thought to myself, okay, he is going to know that I have to have something for Altaria, whether it's Zard Y, whether it's a fast Altaria, and what Pokemon best probably countered both of those was a Hoopa Unbound. And what my best play into Hoopa Unbound would have been is probably my Spadef Charizard X. I'm clicking Flame Charge into Flare Blitz and tanking anything Hoopa can throw at me. Probably could have been the play into Hoopa, but I had Roselli Berry Kyurem there for a reason. And I thought to myself, I was like, okay, I think that my Kyurem could beat a Hoopa Unbound. And if he goes Altaria, then I win. He was like malding after this game, like saying like, oh, it was such an obvious Altaria lure. I mean, if I didn't spoil what happens here. He goes Altaria, right? Oh my gosh. Clicks Hyper Beam or Hyper Voice turn 1. Yeah, Icy Wind. Bam, speed drop, Hyper Beam. Dude, check out this Roselli Berry. Oh my gosh, obliterated. And Iron Head twice. Game over. I win. Felt very happy about that. The lure worked perfectly. But here's the thing. My team was not, it didn't obviously lose to Altaria. Because another way that Kyurem Black can beat Altaria is I definitely could have been a spec set, usually outpacing and killing with Ice Beam. I could have been Zard Y, which beats Altaria. I could have been a faster Altaria myself. And even though with that, I still felt like, oh, what is this? What is this? Okay. Yes, so I went hard into that Altaria. And yeah, it worked out. Anyway, and yeah, because I had a lot of different ways on preview to beat Altaria. This is a nasty preview. All three of these Pokemon are pretty versatile and just very good Pokemon. I had multiple ways to beat Altaria. So theoretically, I could have gone something hard into the other two, but I figured I would just go Kyurem and he's going to pick Altaria, and it worked, and I got him, and it felt very, very good. So now I'm 3-1 in ORAS, and let's go on to next. This is the second to last week. And Ohm. I hard prepped for Ohm. I had a lot of teams that I prepped for Ohm. This was the first one. Ohm really liked to spam Mega Metagross plus Altaria, so a lot of my teams were very into that core, and I see a Mega Metagross here. My Altaria beats it. Both of my Victinis beat it. Feeling good. However, I see a Snorlax. I figured that my play here. So, looking at Ohm's replays, I remember he did not like to use Zen Headbutt on Metagross. So I figured he had to have something for Venusaur, and I figured it was Zard Y. And so I figured, okay, he could go Mega Metagross into the Altaria thinking it wins, and he could go Zard Y into the Mega Altaria thinking it wins. So I'm gonna pick my weakness policy, Volt Strike Victini. And I also felt confident that I could beat Snorlax. So let's go. Let's see what happens. And let's just see how this plays out. So Will-O-Wisp, I burn it. It's Curse. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm going to taunt it, and I win. And it reveals itself to be Facade. Very cool tech by Ohm. Totally got destroyed. And looking back, here is the misplay that I made. I mean, very hard to be... I'm being hard on myself here that I should have realized this. But let's look back at Ohm's team. What is Ohm's Zard X answer, right? Metagross is not a Zard X answer. Ohm is not the type to run Zard X as his own Zard X answer. The Snorlax had to win somehow. And what I would have thought is that it could have been like a Curse rest set for maybe a Zard X hoping you win. But looking back, Facade makes sense because not only do you beat Wisp Zard X, but you can curse up on a Dragon Dancing Charizard, and with Thick Fat, they don't do much damage to you. So cool tech by Ohm, and honestly hard to infer on preview, but you know, hindsight is 2020. Yeah, but here's the misplay that I made. If we look, turn 1, I Will-O-Wisp, and what I did, why I Will-O-Wisp here, is I actually Will-O-Wisp thinking that it could be banned Snorlax. I didn't take into account what his Zard X answer was, and I didn't want to click taunt on Belly Drum. I didn't think he was Belly Drum. I thought he was banned, which looking back, it doesn't make any sense that he would be banned Snorlax. So that was just a bad play in general. But, and I technically could have outplayed it. Like, I could have outplayed the Snorlax by taunting turn 1 and maybe, like, not Will-O-Wisping it, but that's, like, you can't expect someone to think about Facade Snorlax. And also turns out that this Snorlax was not Rest, so Altaria would have won, but I was never going Altaria here because I just didn't think that. I thought it would lose to a Snorlax clicking like Curse Rest or a Snorlax being like Belly Drum, stuff like that. And one last note, yeah, double Victini I wanted to use because Victini is a cool Pokemon and it's broken. One last thing about this team that I was proud of is on Scarf Victini, I used Bounce as the 4th move. I don't think there's any other useful 4th move. The idea with Bounce is that Banned Slacking just totally 3-0s this team. And no one is not clicking Banned Slacking into this team because the last thing you will expect is Scarf Bounce, but it gives me an out in case Ohm brings the Slacking. So game 1, I got bodied in a cool way, honestly. So cool tech. Anyway, game 2, oh my gosh. This is the first time I got hard punished for bringing a team 3-0'd by a common Pokemon. But why did I do that? But not in the way that you'd think. So this Volcanion is cool because it beats Altaria and Metagross, and I figured it matched up stupid well versus Ohm, who also like to use Charizard X. Defensive Volcanion obliterates that. I also lure in Pokemon like Garchomp that I tank and kill with HP Ice. Another Pokemon that Ohm liked to use. I was very happy with how I prepped. Mega Lucario is a super cool second. I won't go into details why, but super cool Pokemon pairing. And then I went with a Scarf Kyurem to cover up some like awkward matchups like Dragonite, Garchomp again. And I knew that when using this team, I was 3-0'd by Mega Slowbro. It's a very common Pokemon. But here was my logic in allowing myself to get 3-0'd by Mega Slowbro. This is like probably what I'm most known for. Is that I can at least fake like I beat Mega Slowbro on preview in 2 ways. The first way is that Specs Volcanion can run Toxic and beat Mega Slowbro because they can't touch you with Scald, and Slowbro often runs Slack Off over Rest. That's one way I could have beat Slowbro. Another way I could have beat Slowbro is the Haban or the Toxic Roost Kyurem set. That is a specifically anti-Sableye because you break through Mold Breaker and you Toxic and you Roost, and it also handles Slowbro. So I figured that I could at least fake like I beat Slowbro in general. And not only that, but Ohm did not bring a single Mega Slowbro the entire tournament. So that's why I was confident with running this risk, if you even want to call it a risk. And then I see this stupid Pokemon on preview, Reuniclus. Oh my gosh, dude. So in that moment, I realized that I also got 3-0'd by Reuniclus, but I don't even fake like I beat Reuniclus because Reuniclus's niche is Magic Guard. Toxic Volcanion loses, Toxic Kyurem loses, so I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. I really just got 3-0'd by Reuniclus. And what I should have done here is I should have gone Volcanion, which was my best chance to beat Reuniclus with a crit. But what I did is I tunnel visioned and I realized, and I thought to myself, I can't burn with Steam Eruption, Volcanion loses. So I went Kyurem instead, but a crit from Kyurem didn't even kill. But either way, he goes the Reuniclus like I thought he did. His timer wasn't ticking down very quick, and I just got bodied by Reuniclus. Had no chance. Bam, 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 bam. Done. I was like, I just couldn't control that. So I wasn't like sad. I wasn't angry. I was just like, damn, like I just couldn't control that 3-0. So now we go on to game 3, and this is where it gets crazy. Let's switch sides. So I actually wasn't even going to bring this team versus Ohm. This was a team that I built not for Ohm, but for like just in general, just for fun. I built this team, and here's why I brought it. If we look back at Ohm's 2 games, the game 3 team that I was going to bring had like a Conkeldurr on it and a Heatran, and I didn't feel like they matched up very well versus what Ohm was going to bring. And my instinct was telling me to bring this cool Smeargle team that I had because I just felt like it was going to have a better matchup. And so I did. And when I saw the preview, I was happy that I did because I thought Smeargle 3-0'd. And here's why. Looking at the preview, Charizard X could have been a hard pick into Metagross. Like I would go hard into the Metagross predicting that. But I figured I don't think Ohm's team has Bullet Punch Metagross. I just felt like it didn't have Bullet Punch Metagross. He has Volcanion to beat Mawile. He might want Zen Headbutt on Metagross to beat Mega Venusaur here specifically, finally. And so I didn't think it was Bullet Punch Metagross. And so the Smeargle set that I have, what Smeargle usually tries to do is it tries to go, it still Spore, but then you run Imprison and Transform, and you shut anything down that's slower than you and just win. What this Smeargle does instead, which I think is cool, is instead you don't necessarily lose the faster stuff because you can endure, Custap Spore, and then Endeavor, and then E-Speed, and they just need to sleep for one turn and you auto win versus anything slower, and even or anything faster, and even the slower things that you would usually just beat with Spore, Imprison, Transform, they're always going to be trying to attack you turn one anyway, so you can still beat those as well, as the general idea. So I picked this hard into the Dragonite because I knew that like a banned Dragonite was going to tank. Dragonite beats Deoxys speed almost always, and Charizard, and I was hard predicting the Dragonite. And then, this is so annoying, dude. So he goes Dragonite, and of all the moves he has, he has freaking Extreme Speed Dragonite. Oh my gosh, dude. I literally sat there for a while and I was just like, did I seriously just lose to E-Speed Dragonite? So I'm PMing him after the game, right? And I'm like, why do you have E-Speed on Dragonite? I was hoping that he said it was specifically for Smeargle, which would have been absolutely nuts. And he said, well, it's for Dio Speed. I wish you guys could see my face right now. The problem with that logic is that Banded Outrage beats Dio Speed anyway. They can never KO you, and E-Speed doesn't help versus the stall set in general. So E-Speed was literally just a pointless fourth move that he didn't even know the purpose of, and it worked. And that's what annoys me, is that if he told me that it was for a Smeargle, I would have been very impressed, and I would have been like, okay, I mean, like, nice. But the fact that I lost to, like, mindlessness, I mean, that's derogatory, but to, like, a move that he didn't know the purpose of, or that he had the wrong idea of, just feels very demoralizing, because I didn't feel like I lost to something that was cool. It, like, somehow worked. So that was just a disappointing game 3 that I literally lost to Extreme Speed Dragonite. Yeah. So, don't run E-Speed on Dragonite. I mean, if you're scared of this Smeargle set that you'll never see anyone else have the balls to use E-Speed Dragonite, but like banded Dragonite wants all the coverage that it can get. E-Speed Dragonite. Anyway, I'm talking way too much about E-Speed Dragonite. And those were my ORAS matches for 1v1 PL. I went 3-2. I feel like I could have done better, but I'm still happy with how I did. I'm happy with how I performed, and I had a lot of fun doing so. And I hope ORAS gets better. It's the best generation in 1v1. There's so much potential versatility and creativity, and yeah, I hope it sees more development. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next video.